8 students and 1 professor of the on-the-road class drove a university van more than 1,000 miles across the Keystone State, a key state with more than 19 electoral votes, the most of any swing state. And the polls indicate it's a very tight race. We left New Jersey and drove west, trying to figure out which candidate would win that part of the state. The candidates have been here more than any other swing state. Vice President Harris has visited over 20 times.
Good afternoon, Pennsylvania. Good afternoon, everyone.
And President Trump has visited over 15.
Pennsylvania, we love Pennsylvania.
Both candidates have also spent a combined $500 million for advertisements in Pennsylvania.
Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
From the suburbs of Beaver County, we headed to Pittsburgh, historically a Democratic stronghold.
Good to be back in Pittsburgh.
We will rebuild our cities.
Farouk Al-Said is a black Muslim immigrant from Canada. He believes that the black community of Pittsburgh has been let down by the Biden administration.
The things that we're looking for is equity in education, equity for economic resources, and we're looking for these student loans to be repealed. We're looking for the previous administration to uphold their promises for the things that they really campaigned on.
Despite these issues, Farouk still plans to vote for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris stepping up, offers something new in the face of politics. I think the Democratic Party has had a fantastic job of stumbling over their own feet the last however many election cycles.
CeCe Clark is a local Pittsburgh boxer who will be voting for Donald Trump and thinks that race shouldn't matter in an election.
You just don't do it just based on someone's color. They're like, oh, that's my first whatever to do it. That's the first fat president. Let me vote for him because he's the first fat one. Who cares? You get the person you want best for the job.
The Steel City is home to a number of universities, such as Carnegie Mellon. We stopped by to see if young voters were as enthusiastic as Penn State. Avalon Suero is president of the CMU College Democrats and thinks that the switch from Biden to Harris got young voters motivated.
Once the switch happened, everyone was just so excited and so pumped to be voting for her, to be helping to get her elected. The energy has shifted so significantly. And it's honestly like something I don't even have to push anymore. Everyone's just so excited on their own.
I think it'll be historic because she's the first woman to be considered president this close.
I appreciate the values that she has set in place thus far, and I'm excited to see what she will do with them when/if she gets elected.
Sebastian Neary is voting for President Trump because he believes that Vice President Harris doesn't believe in her own values.
She'll say stuff like, we want to build a border wall, but if you go back 4 years ago, she advocated for Medicare for all for illegal immigrants. So I think while some of her ideas sound good on paper, she isn't genuine about them.
She's a flip-flopper. You know what a flip? She's the greatest flip-flopper in history.
What made you change that position at the time?
Let's be clear. My values have not changed.
Just in Pittsburgh's metropolitan orbit is the town of Mars. We attended the town's Apple Fest and spoke to Martians like Hal Stifler, who will be voting for President Trump.
Look at how the economy was when Trump was in office. Look at the border when Trump was in office. Look at our relationship with foreign countries. We were by far in a better position. There were no wars. What do we have now? A total mess.
Other Martians are voting for Harris and don't think these issues are due to the current administration.
I think a lot of the economy issues are because of COVID and the spillover from that, and I think that we're recovering now. And honestly, this year we haven't noticed any difference in the cost of what we get. It hasn't affected us. We've made a bigger profit this year, actually.
From Mars, we went somewhere that seemed even more out of this world. While we were out west, President Trump returned to Butler, PA, where he was shot on July 13th. On the way in, we met Colonel John and his billboard truck.
I believe he's a natural leader. He leads us out of hard times.
The security here was obviously tight. It's a beautiful day for President Trump's return to Butler. They're calling it Trump country. And with the huge size of this crowd, I can see why. The crowd was friendly and respectful, but not to Biden and Harris.
You gotta say no to the hoe, because that hoe is just as bad as Joe.
It was also a day of remembrance for the July 13th shooting and those who were lost.
Would like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence.
I think he's common sense. I think now, more than ever, he's about peace, he's about prosperity, and he's about our freedoms. And to me, it's that simple. I'm an independent. I make my vote freely.
We can't afford a country where people are turning to political violence. from the rhetoric the media is spewing, from the lies and deceit that we see on social media constantly. It's time for a change.
If you look into Kamala's history, the political activities of her parents, the Marxist theologies, Kamala is all for the global government erasing the borders, and that's not America. America does have borders.
Another quick fact check, the Harris campaign has never claimed to be for open borders or a global government, and has never followed a Marxist theology. President Trump's supporters stood for an afternoon of speeches from the Trump family and supporters, including J.D. Vance.
She's been in power for 3.5 years and she hasn't done a damn thing.
We left the West believing this race would be even tighter than we thought. We witnessed a rally we will never forget and spoke to voters who are passionate and motivated.
To people from across Pennsylvania and across our nation, let us together stand up.
And together with the great people of Pennsylvania, we will make America powerful again.
For Montclair News Lab, I'm Sean Thrunk.